Good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Hole in the World, an actual play of the Invisible Sun TTRPG by Monty Cook Games. I am, as always, your GM and producer, otherwise known as Great Zamino, normally known as Zach. I use he, him pronouns. I am joined once again by a fantastic and lovely cast, and I would love it if they would introduce themselves, starting with Marcy.
Who would have thought? Hey everyone, I'm Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, which is still the username you can find me most places around the internet. I'm a writer and editor by day, and by night I play awesome characters with awesome people, and I'm back once again playing Gavriel Kazan, the iconoclastic ardent apostate who hosts a choir.
Excellent. Moving down the overlay, Bill, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hey, everyone, I'm Bill. You can find me on the internet on Discord under the handle Ghostbike. And today I'm playing Maurice Webb, a stalwart empath of the Order of Weavers who turns tales into reality.
Excellent. Moving over to the other side of the overlay, Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
It's me. Sup. I'm Hopper. My pronouns are they, them, and I am, as are my characters, and I am currently playing Twigg, the mendicant gallant apostate who heralds beginnings.
There we go. And finally, last but certainly not least, Marissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name's Marissa. My pronouns are she and her. I am a book editor by day and occasionally TTRPG editor, also known as Critical Kitten with various punctuation here and there on the internet. And I play Kyrrie von Hollingsworth, who is the first assistant librarian of the Order of the Vance. She is an eremitic stoic who understands the words, guardian of Zaleska's grimoire, curator of King Nine's library, and most recent recipient of a Seed of Truth.
Excellent.
I never get tired of the intro.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was going to say, I'm wondering just how many more positives we'll be able to add on there.
At this point, it's a challenge, so...
I'm surprised that everybody else hasn't picked it up yet, but suffice to say, we're very excited to be back. This is actually a very different kind of episode than you might be used to. This is pre-recorded, so we are going to be debuting this episode, so when you see it, we are not live, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to engage with the chat directly. We will make sure that we shout you out at the end of every episode when we get a chance to review the chat, or kind of like whoever is manning the chat, see who's participating. So this is just something that, as our schedules have grown more fraught, it's a lot more convenient for us, and it's also a lot more consistent for you. So we're really looking forward to getting a chance to have things like side scenes and more consistent scheduling, so you guys can enjoy the story without having to go through big, long hiatuses. But speaking of the story, lots happened in the previous episode, and I think for that, we need a little bit of music and our standard recap. Previously, on The Hole in the World, Gav, Kyrrie, Twigg, and the gold Maurice modality found themselves inside the machinations of Lord Parthas, Maurice's true spider father. Determined to assert his authority over his son and his subjects, Parthas challenged the Weaver to a game of stories, a reality-altering contest of wits using living beings as pieces. In this case, the pieces were Maurice's vislae friends, as well as a pack of Vespertine pawns, and the game board was the Elderbrin encampment they sought to investigate in the Gold Sun. As Parthas and Maurice played the game of stories in the night side of Silver Sun, the remaining vislae battled a demon of the dark known as the Enemy of Property and a pair of Mori Gra assassins, strange rabbit-headed bounty hunters that took on jobs for more nefarious clients. As the contest progressed, Maurice pled for his father to see reason, eventually forcing his father, amid the court of true spiders he sought to impress, to forfeit the challenge. Meanwhile, Gav and Twig made quick work of the enemies on the field, summoning a golem of Jewish legend and awakening both an Elderbrin dwelling and Twig's gun Fortinbras to pose threats to the sinister bounty hunters. As the apostates fought, Kyrrie stealthily found a longhouse sheltering dozens of frightened Elderbrin. Their Felines defender, Ephanalisan Clean, approached her unsure of her intentions. Assuring them she meant no harm, Kyrrie safeguarded these strange residents until the battle concluded. His pieces defeated, Parthas conceded the game, spending a precious few moments with his son and professing his sorrow at the death of Maurice's mother before sending him back to the Gold Sun, seed of truth in hand. As Maurice emerged from the night side of Silver, his Gold Sun doppelganger faded, and the seed of truth flew to Kyrrie, quickly burying itself in her chest. So, starting from that moment, Kyrrie, as this seed flies to you, you have a split second where what thought crosses your mind? I'm very interested to hear.
I think there's a moment of trepidation, of anxiety, perhaps a bit of fear. I think she hasn't fully processed what's happening. She's seen Gold Maurice just vanish and there Maurice reappear, and suddenly something is flying at her, a small golden projectile. And I think her instinct is like almost to flinch away. She doesn't know quite what this is, I think, until it makes contact with her. And then it's a flood of recognition.
Yeah. As you see this thing, this indigo mode of light, make contact with your chest, it buries itself, subsuming and kind of almost melting against the skin, and just this current of indigo light floods your body. And I think as you look down and see it bury itself inside of you, there is something that you notice, which is lights seem to just cover your skin where it is exposed. And there is something that is very unique that you see, which is you realize you see something about yourself. More importantly, what you see the words in a way that you have never seen them before. You see them almost etched across your skin, describing parts of yourself, describing who you are, the hair on the back of your arms, the like every blemish, every small nick and scar, you see written almost as layers of formulae and script and words across your skin in indigo ink. And as you kind of flick your eyes, the vision vanishes, and your skin kind of returns to how you see it normally. But there is this moment of like, you understand that there is some sort of ken that you have been granted as a part of this. What do you do?
Yeah. Kyrrie takes a sharp intake of breath. It's a strange, discordant feeling, like a powerful, steady heartbeat thundering in her chest. And I think something deep within her almost like stutters and stalls at the asynchronicity of multiple rhythms, like that fight each other for dominance, almost like in the core of her being. She's feeling the seed sinking into her chest and noticing like these almost words like lighting up as she glances at her skin. The description of that part of her body almost like just drips down it. She can, for a flash of a second, see as though someone was describing her that on that part of her body. And she can't seem to shake the sensation that it's passing almost through deeper and deeper checkpoints of her being as the seed sinks further into her, and it's clearing them.
Excellent.
And then I think there's a burst where it settles or almost clicks into place, and then silence. Everything was as it was before.
Excellent. I will say this. I have sent you a artifact description in Discord. If you would like to read it, you may. Otherwise, you can keep that information to yourself. But you now have and are the bearer of a seed of truth. That truth being the truth of inner truth. What are all of you doing as you see this seed fly? I think, Gavriel, you are the only one that knows exactly what's happening.
I was about to say, like, I think Gav knows what just happened on a rather instinctual level. I wonder if the seed within her, like the halo, is starting to spin a little rapidly, as if it is almost attuning itself to the presence of another seed in its vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like this twinning feeling, almost like an introduction of a sibling, but it's not coming from like Gav's sense of feeling. It's coming from this weird eldritchy unknowable item that is taken up residence within her.
Absolutely. And I will say this for Maurice and for Twigg, the thing that you notice, I think, is that you see the flare of light in both of their chests. The one coming from Gavriel is very familiar to you, but you also see it flare inside of Kyrrie. But the one thing you notice is as they kind of stumble a little bit or kind of are caught unawares, the closer they are to each other, it seems like the brighter the light gets.
I think as the seed has kind of leapt out of Maurice's possession, he kind of takes a couple steps after it, and after this process of it embedding within Kyrrie, he continues to walk over all thoughts of, what's happening in reunion, kind of lessened by, and he puts a hand on her shoulder and says, I didn't mean to do that. You're okay, right?
You're back. Where did you...
I had to go get a seed of truth from my dad.
That's what the seed of truth is.
Yeah. Look, as long as you're okay. And he looks over to Gav and puts out a hand and says, hey, come here a second. These lights are getting brighter, right?
Yeah, I can feel something.
Is it good?
I'm not sure. It's like burning, but no actual pain.
Maurice is looking around kind of for the first time. Are we safe here?
I think for now we are. We took care of this incursion.
Yeah, I think, Maurice, you see exactly what you saw through the kind of the view of the game board that Parthis conjured, where you see underneath a pile of rubble the Morrigraw that was destroyed by the Longhouse. Like, its hand is outstretched and limp. There's a bundle of keys and a bunch of open red envelopes off to one side. And then on top of that, there is just, I think, kind of like almost hitching a step, kind of limping towards all of you. You see this carapist Elderbrin, this kind of defender Ephanalisan, kind of looking strangely or apprehensively, I think, at Maurice, having watched you come through this portal from the night side of the Silver Sun and watching the other gold sun Maurice dissolve, and kind of making room for you as a modality moving into this space.
I think Maurice, and where's Twigg in relation to us?
I think I'm still over. I'm like off in the distance. I'm like 150 feet away, petting cat house, or just like I
like that. That's the official name for it now.
well, look, it's a longhouse that sat down like a cat. That was,
like
I
the
believe.
cat bus.
What am I supposed to call it? I think
Twig's over there, just kind of with one hand resting on the massive foundational paw of this longhouse.
Yeah, I will say it's you might as well be, your hand might as well be a flea on it. It's literally you're just stroking this kind of like stone rubble / kind of like wood and foundation there.
I think from like the distance you just hear, is that Maurice?
Maurice turns around with a big smile on his face and looks to Kyrrie and says, I'm going to pick you up now. And gives her a big hug and picks her up and then turns to Gav. And
Don't
says,
even think about it.
That's fair. And he walks over to
I feel like we will do like a bro hug.
I'm hugging you, but I'm also hitting you.
Yeah, he's going to fumble it. He's going to go for the dap and then but then a handshake. And he looks to the Elderbrin and says, "Hi, Maurice Webb. I bet you have questions."
Yes, and I think that he has kind of like reformed. I think himself, because the flesh of Elderbrin are always changing. You see, he takes a less armored posture in his form. You see that some of these spikier bits of the carapace seem to recede, but he also takes on a form that is still very alien, but there's a few more kind of like human-like features as you realize that he is trying to understand or kind of like make himself a little bit more at home for you. And but he kind of inclines his head looking at you, Maurice, and says, "You are all known to us, but you are dissimilar. We are a changing people, and vislae do change, but somewhat differently between places in the actuality. Is this what you are?"
The creature, or vislae, that was here before, I saw with my friends in the battle, that was me in some way. I have no wisdom for you as to the nature of this magic, but the actuality is vast.
Ephanalisan nods sagely, like understanding, yes, this is the way of things. Things are vast and unknowable and strange, but it's Tuesday, that sort of thing. And he, I think, kind of looks to each of you and looks at you in particular, Gavriel, and says, "Most different are you. You are no longer one of our people."
I seem to be in between what you call a vislae and people not from the suns.
And he nods, kind of considering this.
I don't know if that is offensive to you or not.
I see no reason why it would be.
And Gav she wasn't particularly concerned about that, but it does look like she becomes a little bit more at ease.
And I think that the thing that you notice is the little girl, female Elderbrin, the child has kind of almost exploringly kind of like looked up at all of you, and her eyes are focused on you, Gavriel, and you see her body is trying to reform your spinning halo, but doesn't know how. And
I give her like a little wink, and my feathers kind of floof up just like for a half second and then come back down again.
and then you see the top of her, kind of what part of her changing form constitutes a head. You see it grow a crest of feathers.
I'm becoming a fashion icon. Hell yeah.
And
I think if I could propose a move for Duncan.
mm-hmm.
Duncan is with Twigg barking at the cat house.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Maurice says, "Excuse me a moment," and kind of walks briskly over towards Twigg and says, "Hey, no barking, no barking."
And I will say, because Duncan did not factor into the previous battle, I am going to turn a card to see if he discovered anything. Okay. The revolutionary, the sovereign is in play. Meanings, lust, sexuality, change, destruction. Sovereign of the family of secrets. An NPC feels lost. An NPC who had not formally displayed much in the way does so for the first time. Something changes radically or is destroyed. Could be a person or object, but just as likely an institution, a law, or something or other. Yeah, you know what? I think that the first thing is, as soon as you bid Duncan to stop what he's doing, he immediately bounds into your arms, just like, it's like almost like he doesn't even realize that he's doing it, but he's kind of treating you like you've been gone for 6 hours and you might as well have been gone forever. And he is licking you all over, but right as you do this, he drops one of the unopened, he had kind of rested at his feet, one of the unsealed envelopes, and then drops it at your feet in order to bound up to you. And just basically, I think also when he was barking at the cat house, it was kind of like sing-songing in your ears. Hey you, stop that. And
that classic Far Side cartoon.
Yeah.
hey
Exactly. And yeah, I think that as he bounds into the arm, you just hear "Dad!" and just starts the licking. What do you do?
With an armful of dog, he kind of tries to get a view of Twigg and says, "Hey, I missed you."
I'm glad you're not dead. Like, where were you?
Long story. I went back to the Silver Sun and talked to my dad.
We met like a weird baby version of you.
I could see it. Like, I could see this. I couldn't see all the distance of this, though. What are we doing here again?
So the narration, that was you?
Yes.
That was
You recognize
fucking
my
creepy.
voice?
No. There was just a narrator.
Oh, so the other one was my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, you remember from the war report how the past version of me was called the Spider Prince?
Yeah.
I was a true spider, and my dad was currently the king of the true spider. I'm not up to date on how their society functions.
Twigg just kind of pokes at your side a little bit, the side that's not full of Duncan. So, are you like really condensed, or?
I think I sacrificed part or all of the true spider part of me to delay the end of the world in the war report. I don't know exactly how that worked, but it's no longer here for me.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. I think I'm okay with it. This version of me never had it to begin with, so it doesn't really feel like a loss.
Yeah, baby you was cool. Weird, but kind of cool.
I wonder if I'll ever see him again, but
I don't
something
think
tells me
that's
that's
how
not how that works.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works.
Well, don't go liking any other versions of me more than me, huh?
No guarantees. Maybe there's like a baker version of you, like a pastry chef version of you.
That's all it would take for you to like me more?
No.
And Maurice looks up at the cat house and says, "Hello."
I think the house, I think probably the kind of like the top of that longhouse is kind of like forked to form like a set of ears that kind of like are no longer pinned back as they were chasing after the Morrigraw, but it kind of like looks down at you and then just gives you a sense of cool regard. And then once again kind of just shifts a little bit, and that stairwell leading up its forearms kind of ruffles a little bit and then once again reforms.
Maurice places Duncan back on the ground and I think slaps Twigg on the shoulder and says, "So what are we doing here?"
Well, we were here to deal with this. I think Twigg starts walking back towards Gav and Kyrrie.
Yeah, I think Gav is becoming swarmed by Elderbrin children. Maurice, help! They're small. They're like climbing over her. It's like, oh god.
He makes sure that he picks up the unsealed envelope and walks back over.
Yeah, and it is this red envelope. Then, and as you kind of like are holding it, you feel like it's giving off like a heat, and it is unsealed, but it is made out to the Mollitious Manor. And the thing that you notice on the envelope as you kind of study this is that the address underneath the Mollitious Manor care of line is slowly changing. The ink seems to rewrite itself.
Maurice, when he gets back, hands this off to Kyrrie and says, "I could use some help understanding these words, and Gav needs my help."
I think Kyrrie takes a look at. She had been, I think, like looking at her hand, which is where Gav's seed is, and like her hand looks really normal. There's no indication of like the presence of a seed, and her brow is kind of furrowed in confusion, recognizing this sort of differential. But as she accepts the envelope from Maurice, she says, "Yeah, take a look. It's an address that we determined wasn't too far. Certainly a bit of a journey, but
it's changing."
I know. It doesn't want to be found, I presume.
But does it mean? And like he comes back and points like, "Okay, it's changing now. Is that the same place as before? Can we still get there easily?"
I think. Does Kyrrie recognize what the address itself has changed into?
It seems to have a valid kind of like set of coordinates. But I think that with your understand the words, you understand that like there are points at which the that are no longer kind of like named streets, named numbers and addresses. And as it shifts away from that, you literally just see sometimes it will have like a formal set of coordinates. Sometimes it will just be in a vast area, like Heart of the Dolor Sea, or as it shifts, it will have like almost like longitudinal, latitudinal coordinates. It seems that whenever you kind of focus on it and wanting to kind of ascertain, actually, make me an intellect roll.
Yeah. That's a 9.
Okay. So on a 9, I will tell you that the more you seem to focus on where this address is, the more you think about it, the quicker it changes.
Interesting. I think Kyrrie says, I think we should ignore it for a bit. The more that we focus on it, the more that we try to think about it, the more it's going to try to obscure itself and change. We have to catch it off guard, if that makes sense. Like coming up from behind and surprising it. Then maybe we'll get a clear answer.
Good a plan as any. Where are we right now?
Good question. Well, we're in the Gold Sun, still.
And these Elderbrin?
The Elderbrin had gone missing. You then went missing, and, well, we found them, at least some of them. But there may be more. It seems like this manor might be at the heart of the matter.
Thank you. I need to rescue Gav.
I like the idea that you're having in the foreground this very serious conversation, and in the background, Gav is being chased and tackled by children.
Maurice! So he claps his hands and says, "Okay, who wants to hear a story?"
Make me an interaction roll. I will give you 3 to your venture because you guys did save them. So just see how quickly you can get them off of Gavriel.
Right. This is interaction?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll spend 3 because I can do that. Oh, God. So I'm at a 15.
Oh, my
Okay.
God.
Rolled 9
Yeah.
on the dice.
All of the I think all of the children kind of like look at you, and then they start kind of whispering to each other. Like, Gavriel, you are no longer swarmed. Almost, it's so sudden because as they look at you, they're kind of like muttering something, and they all kind of like turn and kind of begin flocking and waiting. And you see Ephanalisan, again, that look on his face, it kind of like twists in a bit of a smirk. And you just hear him say, "The feline children, they've only heard of weavers. They've never met one."
I'm going to use my forte ability, entertain, and I'm going to say, "Okay, who would like to hear the history of the Woodstock Music Festival?"
Yeah, and like, ooh, and all of them like raise their like hands, pseudopods, like paws, the things that they've formed out of their protean bodies, and they all
Not
kind of
what
like
I was expecting.
start listening rapt.
The year was
No, go on. This is now the stream.
a long time ago in a gray sun far, far away.
Sorry, title crawl. Yeah, so you have distracted the children. What is everybody else up to?
I'm getting up and dusting myself off and straightening up my feathers because I think they have been rumpled by curious children wanting to grab at the very bright objects that are attached to me.
I think Twigg is kind of found somewhere to sit down and take a breather. They expended a lot of their energy reserves in this fight, and I think the vibe is that they're just kind of like, can we just catch a quick nap or something? But clearly things are too momentous for that, so it's more of a, I'll sit down and wait for somebody to tell me we're gonna do something. And
as you do this, you just hear, I think as you're just kind of like sitting down in the middle of kind of relaxing and untensing, you just hear, "So we shooting anybody else, or is it just
Oh fuck, that's right. I think Twigg pulls out Fortinbras and just and is looking at how they're holding it by the handle. It's just like, is there some specific way you want me to hold you?
Well, I'm not particular, but a little bit like maybe clipped to the belt, not necessarily in a holster. I like to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, heard.
By the way,
so-
everybody else around you hears Fortinbras talking.
So yeah, it literally looks like Twigg sat down, pulled out a gun, and started talking to it, and it started talking to them.
At this point, I mean, Gav doesn't even blink. I mean, like, she just looks over.
I think
Did it always do that?
Nah, this is a recent development.
Okay.
Kyrrie looks at Fortinbras. You didn't talk to me, and I carried you for a very long time.
And I was very appreciative. You have very soft hands.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad that it was a good experience.
Well, good. I'm glad too.
Oh my god, I love
Gav very quickly just sort of like looks over her shoulder at her gun that's always like sticking up past her right shoulder, and just like half expecting it to start talking when she doesn't hear anything. She's like, no, yeah, no, obviously not.
Gavriel! No.
Anything's possible in the Gold Sun.
I mean, I know that she knows that Twigg can make things come to life, but at this point, she's not sure if it is the Gold Sun that made Fortinbras start talking.
I almost went with "be not afraid." Well, be afraid. Be somewhat afraid.
That would be what her gun would sound like.
Excellent. Yeah, so, Kyrrie, I think you just hear Fortinbras talking. Yeah. You guys have this moment of respite. I think Ephanalisan is kind of taking the scene in, checking on everybody, kind of looking at, surveying the devastation that has struck his encampment. What do you guys do?
I want to go over to the Defender and ask how many of your people were taken.
The killings were slow at first, and then those creatures trapped us here. I attempted to fight them, but they live in darkness and strike from there. I was not able to save everyone, but we are maybe 48, 50. We used to have 75 in this place alone, but some of the ones that I discovered are indeed dead, and I have saved their bodies for the resurrection mound if I can. But others vanished. And as he says this, he's looking and surveying down at the one Elderbrin that kind of was deposited by the envelope. And you just see Ephanalisan finally kind of like seeing like past the rubble, just kind of like quickly stride forward and immediately kind of kneel down. He even changes his shape to kind of almost like slide like a sidewinder would, like a snake, to get to that person quickly as they kind of stir and moan. And he begins attending to this other Elderbrin.
Yeah, I think Gav backs off a little bit. She doesn't have anything that she can use to help in this regard and doesn't want to intrude on what is clearly a private moment.
Yeah, I think Ephanalisan is just nursing this member, and the this creature is kind of stirring their voice warbling, and you hear them kind of exchanging words in the Elderbrin language. And I think that it sounds like Ephanalisan is trying to make sure that this person is okay. And as this person moves from like an inert form, you see like as they return from consciousness, this form kind of begins to kind of like meld and change and differ once again in the way. And you realize that the Elderbrin slowly kind of go inert
when they are sleeping. They change, but only slightly so, and this one seems more animated, so it seems like whatever life-threatening thing happened inside the envelope, it was not doing damage to the Elderbrin.
I think Twigg has stood up at this point to kind of, after seeing this, and is just kind of craning their neck, trying to see exactly what's going on here.
Okay, give me a perception roll.
Perception. Do I have any stuff remaining? I do not. Oh wait, no, I have one. I'll put a Benny into that.
Cool, give me that roll.
That's a 7 + 1.
Okay.
And I think I might have a relevant skill. I have magical lore if it's relevant, or
Yeah.
I don't think searching counts.
Absolutely. Give me magical lore. If you are
it's a total of
searching,
9.
okay. So if you were searching, you would have to be searching for something.
Yeah.
So on a perception roll of 9, I will tell you a couple of things, which is 1, you see that even after the seed has kind of buried itself into Kyrrie's chest, you see every now and then there is like almost kind of like a current, like a slight bit of indigo light that almost travels underneath the surface of her skin, that you would only be able to see if you were looking for it. I think with that kind of like, it kind of catches your eye first off. The second thing you notice is that there are this huge pile of unsealed envelopes in that same red color with that same address that is shifting the same way. And you know for a fact that one of these things was trapped, like one of the Elderbrin, the one that Ephanalisan is ministering to, was trapped inside of the envelope. And the envelope that in which they were trapped was flying around inside the form of a demon, as if it were carrying it.
Interesting. Can I use a spell on... I would like to use Scent of Magic.
Okay.
On one of the envelopes. I think Twigg picks it up and sniffs.
Yeah. This thing reeks of red magic. But it seems like red magic that has been tempered by the dark. As if like you just feel like whiffs of the dark. You smell whiffs of the dark off of this like really strong base note of red magic.
So
it's acrid. How
and
deeply
if
red
I
it
use
is.
an action to examine it, I can also identify it.
Okay. The thing you are holding.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
We cast a spell. We got to pull a card.
Yeah, totally. Let me actually move us to the map view. Oh no, my stream deck is not working. So I'm moving us to the map view manually, like a pleb.
Disgusting.
Excellent. You pulled the Assassin, the Adept of Mysteries, Rats, Mirrors, and Stone. Meanings are finesse, stealth, betrayal, and finality. Subtlety is the assassin's greatest tool. Anyone can kill, but he does it so deftly and so quickly that even the victim doesn't realize they're dead until the assassin is long gone. He often poses as someone harmless or even friendly because betrayal is subtlety's closest sibling. The assassin is the adept of mysteries. His knowledge of the secrets of death is limitless, and his use of skill and finesse would be a thing of beauty if he used them for anything other than murder. But he does not. Okay, ending of something unwanted, or it suggests betrayal. It might be a relationship that comes to an end, but when this card is turned, it can indeed foretell literal death or the threat of death. If this is the case, the death will come from an unexpected quarter. Okay, so I will tell you, as you identify this, you realize it is not a spell. It is not an object. It is a demon. This thing that you are holding in your hand is a demon that is called an insatiate. they have a unique defensive property and offensive property, which makes them a particularly insidious creature, which is that they can pose as an unsealed envelope or a envelope addressed to someone, and they will essentially wait for some unsuspecting person to pick them up, and they will devour that person whole. So
I think
yeah,
Twig very quickly drops the envelope. Yep.
Yeah.
Demons. It's all demons.
The thing.
Gavin's gonna like pull out her gun and like give a look of like, you want me to get rid of him?
I will tell you this, the thing that strikes you is they normally, when they are like this, they are normally quite active. But the fact that you were able to pick one up and drop it makes you realize that something about it has changed. And that's where that whiff of the dark came in, as if something has altered it or altered its modus operandi.
Are they still alive?
They're very much alive.
There's something wrong with them. I don't know how to describe it. It smells like bitter, like the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean you want me to shoot them or not?
I feel like we should probably just burn them.
Well, they contain the information to get us to the Mollitious Manor.
I mean, don't they all have the same address?
They do.
They're changing.
But they're all changing in sync.
So keep one, burn the rest.
We can do that.
I think Maurice sees like some of the younger Elderbrin like drawn towards this like a moment of alarm, and then Jimi Hendrix, the Star Spangled Banner, one of the first time.
Yeah. Ooh, Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix. And yeah, like I think as you tell this story, like notes of like that wailing guitar just kind of like echo and hang in the air a little bit, and then you're like, ah. It's like basically shape changing Ewoks and C-3PO at this point. But anyhow, yeah. So yeah, this is the information that you get, Twig.
Yeah, I think Twig looks at Gav and just and then back at Kyrrie. They're still alive. They're just pretending to be envelopes. I don't know why they have an address or why it's changing.
You're not exactly defending them right now.
I think we should burn them. Because shooting them's gonna take a really long fucking time.
They have information, though. I mean, have we tried just asking?
I'm gonna go up to one of the envelopes and, with an air of like this feels stupid, I'm gonna jab the business end of my rifle like just into one of the envelopes. I'm like, talk, envelope. She's just like, but it's very much like, this won't work.
Okay. Oh, how
I feel like that like 4-second clip is like a great stinger for Invisible Sun as a whole.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. In fact, what I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna turn a card. And we're gonna see what ends up happening.
As we always do in Invisible Sun when the outcome seems too ridiculous to even
Not be one of my finer interrogation moments.
Yeah. Misunderstood beast. Mistakes,
Ooh.
gentleness, friendship, danger, and betrayal. The misunderstood beast is a gentle giant, not a murderous monster.
Oh no.
Yeah, it seeks our friendship, not our flesh. Don't you see? I'm just trying to eat. No, can we see past its physical nature and ascertain its truth? Will we even try? Snap judgments can result in horrific mistakes. We judge something by its appearance or simply by the initial reaction it turns in our heart. But the real truth of the thing can barely be ascertained so quickly. This misstep can catch us from either direction. We might judge something ugly as evil when it is not, or we might assume something pleasant is a friend when they are not. Either way, we are harmed at least, or at least lessened as a result. Something is not what it seems. This could be a concealed threat that will result in betrayal, or it could be something useful that one is ignoring or even avoiding. The turn of this card warns of such mistakes, but the mistake might have already been made, and the misunderstood beast spells out the results of such a mistake. Often this card suggests that one should look for aid from unexpected corners, but warily. In fact, what it really says is that if someone looks to be a friend, they are not, and those that seem to be a threat likewise are not. This is hard advice to take, and obviously it is not always true, only when this card is turned. Let's see. I will tell you this. The fearsome need not always be feared. So the thing that you notice, I will tell you this. The misunderstood part of this is, I think, as wrapped as all of the children are, Ephanalisan starts moving towards, I think, towards the envelope that you are kind of trying to interrogate Gavriel. And I think he's kind of surveying it, like moving forward, trying, like having kind of stabilized the other Elderbrin, he's moving forward. And you see as he gets closer, the envelope lurches, and these paper tendrils start carrying itself towards Ephanalisan, at which point he braces. What do you do?
I think since I have the rifle like butt up against it, all I'm going to do is push it into the ground.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I will tell you this. You are going to need to use physicality here to try to suppress it. Yeah.
There's more than one way to get an envelope to open up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry, Zach.
The fact that you're holding a gun.
Zach, you can cut these puns in post.
Oh, why would I ever do that? I'm gonna make you live with your shame. Go ahead. What you got?
Physicality. I'm not gonna put a penny to this. We're just gonna. What's the venture?
The challenge is 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna trust it.
I'm gonna muscle in on that envelope.
Yeah, that'll be a 7.
Okay. Yeah, this thing immediately lurches and it just makes this screeching noise of paper, like that is muffled by the sound of paper ruffling pages one over the other, and you just hear, and you slam the barrel of the gun into it and pin it.
Sort of picturing like a Studio Ghibli soot monster almost, with just like the little flailing arms.
But it's like little red tendrils of paper.
Yeah,
like, and this is like, this is vibing. Like this is pulling a memory, a full force out of my head. It's like the soot monsters, but it's like Princess. You remember the creepy worms from Princess Mononoke?
Oh yeah,
It's kind of like tiny little paper version of that.
So we're all on the Ghibli train with this creature.
We're always on the Ghibli train.
Do not summon the sun boat with the. No Ghibli trains.
May Maurice, is he able to see this happening?
You see this thing is like kind of like flailing out with these kind of like paper pseudopods trying to grab at Ephanalisan. Yeah, you see this. I mean, I think you are. Yeah.
Am I able to use the secret view demon symbol to establish its precise position in the hierarchy?
You may, certainly.
I'm gonna say that when I was holding the envelope, I wasn't like looking correctly, but now in this explosion of activity, I can see it clearly.
Were you not wearing your glasses?
So here's the thing: is you see as this thing is like scrabbling and scratching at it, it is little more than beast. It is probably one of the lowest demons on the hierarchy of demons within the demons that are exist inside the red. These are insatiates, and basically they are kind of almost like more like predatory animals than actually sapient creatures. If they are sapient, it is something that it is a phenomenon that occurs when they are not hungry and satisfied with something they have eaten. So that is what you get off of demon symbol.
Cool.
Yeah. I will tell you this. There are I think I'm actually curious, Kyrrie, what are you doing while everybody's kind of surveying and taking all this in?
Yeah, I think Kyrrie has been trying to sneak up on an envelope to try to get it to reveal its true address. So I think you see her, like, you know, looking very aloof, her back turned to an envelope on the ground, and like she casually looks over her shoulder at it, like to see if it's, and then, you know, continues pretending to completely ignore it in hopes that it will, like, the information will settle. Does that seem to work?
So I think actually make me an intellect roll.
Absolutely. That's a 7.
Okay. On a 7, as you are looking at this, and its level is 5, so you've beaten it handily. But the idea is that you realize there's something at the core of what has changed in this thing. Is you're trying to sneak up on it, but you realize as you're looking at it, the fact that you want this information is what is hiding itself from you.
She, I think, then drops the envelope. Futile. But then a thought strikes her. Almost tentatively, I think, and in a very, very sort of sotto voce, she asks, "Universe?"
Okay. What are you asking of the universe?
I think her intention is to... The only seed that she's ever seen work is Gav's. And I think her working template of how her seed works is Gav's. So I think she is trying to use it in the same way. She wants to ask the universe how to get to the manor they need to go to. She's basically just trying to circumlocute the puzzle. She's trying to, like, use her seed to cut through.
And you ask the universe this thing. And there's just this kind of like, I think you're expecting kind of like this moment where everything should melt away and it's just going to be you asking this question. But you realize that this moment doesn't come as all of the kind of like noise of the scrabbling demon, Gavriel kind of like pinning it and kind of against the dirt. You just hear Maurice kind of telling the story of Woodstock and the brown acid at some point. And I think, I think there's this kind of like almost like old man kind of like murmuring in a low voice from Fortinbras. But at the same time, so that quiet moment, that kind of like peace and solitude in your thoughts doesn't come for quite some time. And then you hear a very soft voice at the back of your mind. Are you sure that that is not a question that you should be asking of yourself?
Universe?
If that's what you want to call it, certainly.
This is, forgive me, but not what I expected. Hello.
Greetings.
You have a voice, are you the universe cannot be a being? How can this be? Oh, that's another question. Sorry, I'm only supposed to ask you one, I think, right?
Yes, that's typically how this arrangement works. And as you speak more with her, and as she speaks back to you this voice, you realize that it is the version of your voice that you would hear outside of yourself, not the one that you would hear inside of your head. It would be if your voice had been recorded and played back to you.
Ooh, that's a strange feeling. The universe speaks with my voice.
Well, you speak with your voice, And we are each and every one of us a universe unto ourselves, are we not?
Forgive me, I think maybe there's been some sort of cosmic disconnect. I'm trying to reach the universe. You know, the one that contains all of the knowledge in the actuality. Have I gotten my wires crossed?
Who's to say that you don't have that knowledge? You are a Vance, after all.
But I am only one Vance. You surely can't be putting the hypothesis to me that I contain multitudes.
We all contain multitudes. You are no less containing of such multitudes.
But you see, I'm trying to get to the multitude out there. All of the knowledge in the world. You know, the one that... You are the seed of truth, yes?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, I am.
I've seen the other seed of truth, and it can talk to the universe.
Well, but that is the seed of verified fact. I am the seed of inner truth.
You're different.
Yes, I'd like to think so. But no less unique and no less special.
So you don't work like the seed of unverified fact. I can't just ask you what I want to know.
You can certainly ask, and I can point you to an answer. It is up to you to what you do with that information.
Can you contact the seed of unverified fact?
I think actually that's
Can
a
I
really...
speak to your supervisor?
I'm actually gonna, you know what? This is a card pull. I gotta find out if these guys are on a shared network plan or something. Friends and
If
family.
I start, because like my seed doesn't talk to me, so if it starts suddenly talking, that's the last thing I need is one more voice in my head.
The Eternal Mountain. Its color is green. It weakens pale. Meanings: unchanging, solitude, memory, eternal, long life. The mountain stands alone and unchanging. It always has, and it always will. Some find this compelling, others terrifying. The mountain sees all and never forgets what it has seen. Eternal Mountain is the location card of the Visions family. We all hope and dread to reach the Eternal Mountain one day. And I think there is a moment where you are speaking to this seed. I'm afraid it's just me for the time being. Maybe that will change. The more you learn about yourself, the more Gavriel learns about herself. Perhaps even the more seeds you find.
But I can't answer this question. I don't know the answer. So I've misdirected the query. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, let us restate for posterity the question that you asked.
I'm looking to get to the manor.
And that is
the
your
information
question.
keeps changing, you know, so we need to know where to go.
Very well. Has it occurred to you that with keys of 3, you have potential location for where the Mollitious Manor may be?
Keys of 3.
What
does that mean?
I am not the only sapient object that you have talked to.
That's true. You think Zaleska's grimoire knows?
Perhaps. Maybe this is a question that you can answer yourself.
This is unfair. Gav just gets to ask a question and get an answer, and what I get is riddles.
It is not the destination that is important insofar as inner truth matters. It is the journey.
Let me guess. It's the journey.
Mock the platitudes all you want. There's very much a reason that we are changed by the journeys and the paths we walk. often for the better, often for the worse, but we are changed.
So let me get this straight. You, for now, will never work like the Seed Gav has, right? You will just be someone I can talk to? And then maybe we figure it out together? Do I have that right?
Does this fact trouble you?
You're trying to trick me into thinking more about myself, aren't you?
No.
I will have you know that I'm a Vance, and therefore I have a very sterling intellect, and I see what you're doing.
So why are you so intelligent and so amazing a Vance, and yet you won't crack open a single book?
It's one single book. Just... It's not like Zaleska's grimoire misses me. And it's been here. I've been protecting it. That was what I was tasked to do, and I've been doing it.
Perhaps it is not your protection that it wants.
You've given me something to ruminate on.
I would hope that I have given you an answer to your question. But now, what you do with the information is up to you. I look forward to the next time we speak. And the voice disappears.
I think Kyrrie mutters under her breath. Well, that makes one of us. And I think, though, her eyes definitely drop down to her side, where Zaleska's grimoire has been sturdy, stalwart, remaining. And I think just a quick look of consternation crosses her face before she goes to rejoin the others.
Excellent. So, you rejoin the rest of the vislae. You are deciphering the process of how this, whatever machination was in place for the Morigras, for the Vespertine. And while you do that, we're going to take a 10-minute break. So what are you guys doing now that, Kyrrie...
I'm still pinning a demon down.
Yeah, you're still pinning a demon down. And I will say this, Kyrrie, you have been imparted with an uncomfortable, posited truth by the seed of inner truth, while Maurice is telling the Elderbrin children stories, and Twigg and Gavriel are doing their best to figure out what's going on with this demonic enveloped plot. What do you do to rejoin kind of like the crew? What does this look like?
I think, Kyrrie stalks over to the others, looking quite frustrated. She goes, well, that was a waste of time. What's going on over here?
Demonic envelope.
Right. Unfortunately, it seems there's going to be no way to read the address or get it to settle. The more that we want to know. Just boom.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably like,
do I need to roll for this? Do I need to even roll for this? I'm just going to waste this envelope.
Yeah, go ahead. I will tell you this. Honestly, just roll to make sure you don't hit a 0.
Okay, yeah, that I can do. It was not a 0.
Okay, yeah. This creature erupts in a shower of just ripped paper pieces that I think catch you and Ephanalisan off guard.
So, burning all of them. I'd like to revisit that. Let's get all of these on a pyre immediately. I'm going to start gathering them up. We'll save one that we need for like a reference point, but I don't want to leave these on the grounds here, especially seeing the reaction that it had to the Elderbrin specifically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Kyrrie, having watched this, is not surprised by Gav's action. Maybe like she hadn't finished her sentence and then it already got it. She's like, oh, all right. And I think she also
wiping out your ear like how.
Yeah, like little warning next time. I think she says, well, I'm going to keep working on the information problem. There is more than one way to skin a cat after all. And then I think she realizes what she said in the proximity of the cat house. And she's like,
yeah.
I mean,
all the like rubble kind of shifts uncomfortably.
I didn't mean it. No, it's an expression. It just means to solve a more than problem.
Twigg's ears also start twitching a little bit the more you continue talking. And you can kind of see them kind of being like, what? And then realizing that it's the goddamn cat ears.
I think, yeah, Kyrrie is like apologizing for this. But I think she is also then going to never mind. And I think she's going to proceed to cast Literary Query. We do need a card pull for this. Level 4, I think of a question, and if there's a book in the Vancian library that can answer that question, and which I am authorized to read, it appears in my hands.
Okay.
If the book is not returned in a timely fashion, there will be consequences. So here's just, going back to what she knows. She's like, God damn it, if the universe won't give me the answer, I'm just going to go to the library and find out.
Okay. The enticing jewel. Its color is invisible. Its meanings are greed, money, beauty, goals, and success. The light at the end of the tunnel, the brass ring, the center of the target. The object of our desire lies before us in the form of the enticing jewel. We want it. We have to have it. It represents beauty, but the side of beauty that demands attention and probably possession. It is the beauty that can sometimes call to our darker natures. It brings out greed, ambition, and selfishness. When the enticing jewel is turned, everything focuses upon it. Most of the time, this is one of the most positive cards that can be revealed. It indicates success in one's endeavor. It suggests beauty and wealth. At the very least, even if not actual success, the enticing jewel is the potential for success, which in itself can be encouraging because sometimes there is no possibility for such success. Still, the card has a darker side because it also suggests greed and a love of wealth and the dangers of such things. Someone succeeds at a major goal. Something or someone of great physical beauty enters the scene. An NPC possessing great wealth becomes involved. An NPC obtains or desires an object of great value. It shines in the darkness, its beauty mocking me. Its absence from my possession is a wrong that must be righted. Okay, so read for me the text of the spell exactly.
Yes. I think of a question, and if there is a book in the Vancian library that can answer that question, and which I am authorized to read, it appears in my hands. The question can be how to learn a given spell. If this book is not returned in a timely fashion, there will be consequences.
Okay. So what is the question that you ask?
Kyrrie asks the same question she asks of the universe. She says, how do we get to I can never say the Mollitious Manor. Mollitious Manor.
Okay. So, you gain access you realize that the one thing that you receive as you kind of hold out your outstretched hands is a book that is a part of the Vancian canon. And the book flies open and the pages begin to flip as it perches itself on a particular spell page. The spell that you are looking for is called Sura's Swift String. It is a gamma spell. It is level 6. A line marking the path that leads to my stated destination appears before me on the ground or in the air, although only Vances can see it. Further, if I follow the path without leaving it, the spell foreshortens distance and I reach the destination at 3 times my normal speed. ends automatically when the sun next sets. Its color is indigo. This is a way for you to get to the Mollitious Manor.
Yeah.
But it does not erase the fact that you want to get there. Bear this in mind.
This is true. I think, and now also Kyrrie has to carry this book around because, you know, she also will have to return it at some point. So, yeah, I think it probably will take Kyrrie, like, she has to study this spell, right, to actually learn it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How long does that take, or will that likely take? Because it's a gamma spell, so I imagine it's slightly more than like an alpha or a beta.
Yeah.
I will say you might have time because Gav is running around trying to like burn the envelopes, so she has to get like a pyre started. So that's at least like you've got maybe a half an hour to an hour right there.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you this. Unfortunately, the level of such a spell, I believe it's for every level of a spell that you can cast, it is a day of study.
Oof.
So I will tell you this. You kind of are surveying this book. Twig, I would like you to make me an intellect roll.
Okay. I had previously used my 10-minute to restock up on physicality for the record.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have one action and then the 1 hour remaining. And this is a intellect roll?
Yes.
Let's see here. Shocking no one, I have used like 1 in the past like 8 sessions.
What you got?
No, I'm gonna put a Bene into that.
Okay.
Ooh, 2
Okay.
total with the Bene.
On a 2, there's something about the envelopes. You realize, I think that this is just general information, which is there's something about the envelopes is they're meant to carry whatever they're holding, ostensibly probably to the manor. With that too, that's what you get.
Can I use a hidden knowledge?
Yeah, certainly. What form does this hidden knowledge take? Well, how is it like you're applying it in this case?
I think it's a very vaguely remembered shred of movie from the Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And it is of someone shipping themselves in a box to avoid postage, to avoid paying money, because it was way cheaper to ship themselves in a box. I think that the part that this is actually a documentary, and the person died horribly, but that's not the bit that Twig remembers.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing I will give you with
please note, Manipot Studios does not condone shipping yourself in the mail. It's dangerous. Don't do it.
So I will tell you this: the thing that these, with that hidden knowledge, the thing that these envelopes have in common is that they have been repurposed from their original purpose.
Ooh.
That doesn't mean that they can't be repurposed again.
Could we send, like, I don't know, a tracking thing, or like, can we just send something to the house? Clearly, like, these were supposed to go to the house.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kyrrie looks up. Well, I would advise not putting ourselves in there. Seems like the demons usually eat whatever's in the envelope, yes?
I'd like to see them try. If it's eat or be eaten, I think Twig just smiles slightly menacingly at an envelope.
The envelope remains inert.
Can I bully an envelope?
I'm gonna quick pause here. I'm just gonna let you guys know. This problem does not have a solution that I have prescribed. However you want to approach this, I'm very interested to see what you guys want to do.
My previous judgment forward. I'd like to bully an envelope.
Yeah.
You have a timer now because like Gav went off to go get wood and everything and is intent on burning these. So you have until she walks back in only to hear. And I would love for you to just say, we've decided to let ourselves be eaten by the envelopes.
Yeah. All right. What do you do? So are you gonna bully the envelope? Are you gonna try it?
Can I consume the memories of the envelope?
You may certainly try. What are you trying to glean? What ability are you trying to use here?
The spell consume memories?
Yeah, absolutely.
No. I'm trying. Oh my god, it's so much worse. I forgot which spell this is. Where are you? Memory spew. With a touch, I make this as a person. I feel like since it's a demon, it counts. Demons are people too. They're just shitty people. With a touch, I make a person use an action to cough up a ball of gelatinous substance that is one memory.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is this spell or forte? Because one triggers a card.
This is a spell.
Okay, that's a card.
All right. Let me go ahead and pull this card.
And if I spend an extra 2 sorcery, I get to choose the memory.
Okay.
And I would like to choose the memory of who changed the. I want to know who changed this thing from an envelope to, from who twisted this demon.
Okay. Its meaning, I drew the crowded tomb, which its color is pale. It weakens green. Its meanings are endings, despair, and completion. The tomb lies at the end of all stories, the reward for the greatest monarch and the lowliest beggar. Of course, the tomb is crowded. It grows more crowded each day. Mourners crowd around the tomb, but it is even more crowded within. So many deaths, so many endings. Crowded Tomb is the location card of the Secrets family and thus represents a permanence, or is related to a physical place. This means that the finality that it represents probably occurs in a specific and significant location. The Crowded Tomb is an ending, not necessarily a sudden ending, an ending that you know full well is coming. Whether you acknowledge it or not, it might just mean that a task is finished. It doesn't always need to be sad. Everything needs to end sometime. But there is an air of despair to this card. Not outright misery, perhaps, but a lingering sadness, a mourning. The silence grows more crowded, and yet remains silent. So,
may I describe what Twig does to rip this memory out of it?
Yes, please do.
So I think Twig is once again very low on sorcery, and back to using physicality, baby, blood magic.
Woo!
And I think you see Twig just kind of run the edge of a small knife across their hand, which is again always I don't know why people do it. Twig's doing it because other people do it in movies, but it's so dumb. Don't do that. If you do blood magic, do it from somewhere that you don't use all the time. Fucking idiots. Anyways, but dribbles the blood into the mouth of the envelope, and then I think waits to see. I'm kind of picturing it. Does it react to that at all?
Oh yes, I will tell you this. Like, you just feel it kind of like. It's almost like it curves up and there's just these kind of like lines and wrinkles and furrows and creases that form out of like forming a face out of the rectangle face of the envelope. And you see it twist, and the almost the ink of the address written on it, it kind of twists into a set of beady eyes that look up at you expectantly.
Is there a mouth?
I was gonna say, I think what you see is that it forms like your blood forms a darker stain on the paper of this envelope, and then disappears into the envelope.
I think Twig's gonna open the envelope and jam their hand into it. Grab it and open it and jam their hand in there and try to rip the memories out.
you just hear this like unsettling sound of ripping and tearing paper and angry demon. What are you pulling out of it?
The memory. So I'm literally looking for any memory it has of who did this.
Okay. Roll your ability and make sure to add your level of it to your venture.
Okay, let me pull let's beep boop beep boop.
Boop,
Memory
boop.
spew. It's memory spew. It's a level 3 ability with +1 dice. And I added the extra 2 sorcery, but I don't think it changes the level of the spell.
All right.
So what do I need to get?
You are you're going to need to get a 2 at least once on one of the 2 dice. While you are doing that, Kyrrie, it does occur to you that you could attempt to force the spell into your mind to use it, Zura's string. However, you would have to subjugate the spell.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Twig, what'd you get?
7 on one dice, 0 on the other.
Okay. Was the 0 the magic die?
No.
Okay. So on the 7 that you get, describe pulling this memory out of this thing as it kind of, I think, once you pull it out, it once again kind of goes limp and inert. But, you know, I think still its like face is beginning to untwist and it looks at you nastily with those 2 beady eyes before once again becoming an inert envelope.
I think Twig boops it on the nose. Yeah, so you see Twig after kind of getting it to open up a little bit with the blood, then jamming their hand, first their hand on the wrist, I think elbow deep into an envelope that's far too small for that to make sense. And just kind of rustling around in there as this thing is like gnawing on the edge of their arm, and then pulling out this long, almost taffy-like substance of like this kind of like almost like paprika red, just extruded thing that has swirls of black through it, and then like when it finally comes all the way out, it snaps into what appears to be like kind of just a weird gooey ball.
Yeah. Excellent. So you have this black gooey ball, and do you just immediately just hork it down? What do you do?
Yeah, I think Twig looks at it for a second and looks around at everybody else and then just
And that's when Gav comes back in and is just holding some firewood, and it's just, what did you do?
You
memory.
Yeah, I think you kind of like open your mouth to speak, and you just get this flash of you see through blood-tinged red, almost infravision, looking at this man in a black suit with a completely bald head. He is surrounded on every side by opulent furniture and this kind of almost like changing Mucha-esque set of decorations and architecture behind him, as he has forcibly grabbed you and is forcing magic through your form. And even as a creature such as you, who delights in the thrill of violence and the kill, you feel a level of pain you could never have imagined course through your slight and yet deceptively small form as this thing binds you to his will. The form of this fella himself, he completely bald, he seems to have these kind of like black wells where his eye sockets are, that almost kind of drink in the light, and you just see 2 pupils kind of staring out at you, these kind of white pupils, and at the same time running up both sides of his face,
you see again these little tiny wells, but where they kind of crisscross over his jaw, you just almost see past the skin and onto the bone of his teeth. The same thing with the black wells up top. There's just the smallest glint of skull.
I think Twigg just kind of this blast through Twigg's mind. And then in answer to Gav's question, they just hold up a finger and go. And then because I have the Forte ability, Perfect Memory, I'm going to step by step describe it in excruciating detail out loud with as much detail as I can provide.
Okay. However, I will say you do have a very keen insight of the processes that were worked at here, so that if you were to describe how to kind of replicate such a spell, as long as you're holding on to the memory, you could do that.
Oh yeah, that's just my memory now.
Yeah, exactly. I will say it is very hard to think about, though.
Well, we all tuck our trauma somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
I just have somebody else's trauma just floating around.
Where are you in the Woodstock story, Maurice?
And I think that was the handle, that sense of inevitable victory over the forces of old and evil. Not in any mean or military sense. We didn't need that. Our energy would simply prevail. There was no point in fighting, on our side or theirs. We had all the momentum. We were riding the crest of a high and beautiful wave. And so now you can go up on a steep hill in Las Vegas and look west. And with the right kind of eyes, you can almost see the high water mark. The place where the wave finally broke and rolled back.
And then you just hear, whoa, from all of the Elderbrin children. Okay. I have furnished you guys with some information. What do you want to do next?
I think I can do what Creepy McCreeppants did to the envelope. I'm pretty sure I can copy the spell. You know, if you guys want to get eaten by an envelope and taken to the house.
Alternatively, I could learn a spell. I learned it from this, it's in this book from the Vancine Library. It would either take me 3 days to learn, or I could force it into my mind quicker than that. It might have some additional consequences. Spells, in general, don't like to be forced to do things. They like to agree to do them. But if time is of the essence, perhaps I can
cup runneth over with options.
How come my spells don't talk to me?
You're not a Vance, obviously.
So?
So they wouldn't want to talk to you.
Rude.
I'm just saying, you're not a Vance. You don't understand that they like to be... Vances clothe themselves in spells. You clothe yourselves in pastries.
I want to be mad at that, but that's so true.
Well, if our options are between forcing another spell or getting eaten by an envelope demon, I'd rather not be eaten by a demon. I feel like that goes without saying, but it bears. I guess it does bear actually stating out loud.
What if we sent something that wasn't us?
That's a thought.
They're expecting victims. Helpless victims. What if we sent something that's neither helpless nor a victim?
Do you have something in mind?
Thinking of?
I think Twig just glances over at the house-sized cat,
Oh my
the
God.
longhouse that's turned itself into a cat.
Just kind of like settles, and then the facade kind of turns to look at you apprehensively.
You want some payback, big guy?
It's a cat. It looks at you, and it
yes.
and it judges you. Yes.
And it judges me, and it judges.
Yeah, exactly. It looks at you and it judges. Yeah, that is. You can certainly try to do this. What do you want to do? What do you guys want to do?
Well, if the house wants to go, far be it from us to stop it, but do we have a way to track it once it reaches its destination?
That sounds like some you people stuff.
And Ephanalisan, I'm actually going to turn a card for Ephanalisan real quick. Oh my God. The Empty Gallows. Its color is pale. It weakens green. The picture on the Empty Gallows is literally a cat with a a pocket watch in its mouth. Rescue, salvation, solution, favorable judgment, and escape. The gallows
Favorable
claims
judgment?
Yeah.
What the fuck, Money Cook?
The gallows
Every
time. The gallows claims no victory today. Today we are granted a reprieve, or we make an escape, or someone rescues us. Whatever the reason, the threat is gone. The problem is solved. The Empty Gallows brings a feeling of relief, of gratitude, and newfound purpose. It is a sudden extension of life. The Empty Gallows serves as the location card for the Notions family. We've also been getting location cards, which is super interesting to me.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That's my location card.
Yeah. The Empty Gallows suggests that some problem, perhaps a major problem, will be solved. This might be from an external source, or one might bring upon their own salvation. Either way, this positive card turn signifies that one avoids a terrible fate. Less commonly, but still in a positive accord, this card may presage that someone of importance passes favorable judgment upon the person in question. They are found innocent, worthy, or to have some other favorable trait. Someone accused of a crime is pardoned or freed, a prisoner escapes. The terrible appointed hour comes and goes. Okay, so this is what I believe that this represents. Ephanalisan steps forward and says, why not? Why send just the house? Why not all of us go inside of it?
In the house?
And then let the envelope swallow it.
That would make it harder for the demon to eat us, presumably.
I'd hope so.
I'm pretty sure I can make it so it doesn't actually eat us. I think that's what the spell that I saw that person, does Twig have a good idea of what type of vislae that figure was?
You know for a fact this was a Vespertine agent. He wore a black suit very akin to what is kind of like the standing uniform. Basically just like very fashionable, very chic, but completely Vanta black clothing.
Fucking edgelords. So was he like a goetic? Or that like, because he was twisting demons.
Mm-hmm. You get the sense that this guy, I was going to say twisting, either he may have been doing some form of making, or he may have been essentially using the strictures of a goetic contract to force a change. You're not sure which.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I can at least do my best to mimic it.
I think Kyrrie looks at Ephanalisan. Are you sure you all want to go? After all, you're free now. You can take the children and get them somewhere safe.
I said nothing about us going anywhere. I will
good.
go if I have to accompany anyone.
Would you leave them? We wouldn't want to ask that of you.
I would prefer...
Sometimes you have to leave your people in order to defend them.
Kyrrie looks at Gav.
Yeah.
You would know that better than I, yeah. I suppose it's your choice, Ephanalisan.
I am going to turn another card for Ephanalisan and see where he kind of lines up on this. Oh boy. The Harvesting Spider. Action, labor, and stealth. Spiders are so many things. Builders, weavers, and caretakers, but also hunters, killers, and blood drinkers. The harvesting spider cares for her young, but at the expense of what she harvests, and that just might be you. She is stealthy and sneaky. Her many footsteps are silent. Regardless, spiders never stop working. They build and create to serve specific purposes. Signifies act immediately, work hard. Success can be had, but only as a result of action and toil. The also set a hunter, and thus can suggest that stealth might be required in one's endeavors. Something or someone sneaks past. Joy. Someone takes action. People labor to achieve a goal. A newly erected structure becomes important. Various forces debate over a single important action. Thieves or spies are active in the shadows. Okay. I'm trying to think of what this could mean. I'll even open this out for you guys. I think that given that he is in an injured state, and he kind of like looks at the children that are being kind of entertained by Maurice. I think that he looks and realizes his place is not here, is not with them, with you rather, but with them. And he takes a look at this and he says, "There's not much that I can offer in my current state, but I can teach one of you something." I think I realized that's exactly what he's going to do. Is he's going to, instead of moving himself, he's going to teach you guys a secret. I have to figure out what that secret is going to be, just because I think the cards caught me a little bit off guard here. But he says if you stay with him the rest of the day and kind of like begin plotting out this action, he will work with one of you to teach a secret that only the Elderbrin know. What do you guys, by the way, does that feel kind of true to the character and the circumstances? Cool. Yeah. So that is kind of what you get, but this is what the course of action Ephanalisan has suggested. What do you guys do?
I think it's our best shot. I may not like it, but it is what it is.
And, well, I would prefer not to force a spell to do something against its will. The other option on my end is 3 days, which is a lot of time, and I don't want to waste it. I can study on the way. That way we can have it ready for if we need it again.
I don't know about you guys, but I need a nap.
When do you not need a nap?
Pretty much never.
Okay.
When do you not need a nap? I mean, like you're on like all the time, Gav.
I barely sleep.
Yeah, you know that's not healthy.
So they tell me. But then I figured we're living in a world in which demons can be enveloped, so who cares how much I sleep?
Do I not need to sleep?
That is a question.
Have I been sleeping this whole time and I don't need to be sleeping?
No, I would say.
Does napping do anything?
Your body does need sleep.
You are literally saying the insomniac's litany right now.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm gonna rule. I'm gonna house rule that you sleep, Twig.
Okay. It'd be real funny if I was. I don't need to. I just choose to.
All right.
No. I think Twig gets over this tiny existential crisis and be like, no, fuck that. I need a nap. I'm gonna go take a nap, and then we'll go, figure out what we're doing.
Okay. So, I will say this, because you are the one that freed him, Kyrrie, and I think, unless anybody has any strong reservations here, I think Twigg, you are working to kind of unravel this magic. Gav, you are burning the rest of the envelopes pretty handily. I'm assuming save for one. And then Maurice, what are you doing while all of this is going on? Are you assisting, or what is
Still with the kids? I think like half of them are being entertained by Duncan, and I think he's also asking anyone of the remainders for details about this modality of his. So you call him Maurice too? That's great. And what are some of his hobbies? What does he do?
And you just hear one of the Elderbrin children that actually knows how to speak vislae, or is just kind of like, well, he smokes the pipe a lot, which is very weird because he's also very small. And on top of this, he says that he finds joy in everything. And he encourages us to do the same. He talks about the weave a lot.
I hope you get to see him again soon.
Us too. While you were having this moment with the children, Ephanalisan pulls you aside, Kyrrie. And he begins training you in something. And he says, now, as a defender of the Elderbrin, it is my job, always, to be prepared to help more than just myself, to know what the limits of magic, of protection are, and to expand the shield. And as he does kind of like manipulate his hands, his pseudopods, his changing form, you watch as he kind of like does the same to this kind of almost protective barrier and charm that you see not only kind of extrudes itself over him and his carapace, but you see kind of like almost this like translucent and then completely transparent shield move over the group of children as well as Maurice, and you see a similar kind of shimmer in the air right in front of your face. And he says, allow me to show you what it looks like to expand a spell beyond its limits, and to let it change, to let it be changed by you. And he's going to teach you the secret beyond me. A spell that you cast that normally affects only you can affect additional targets. For every 4 points of sorcery you spend, you can add an additional target.
Ooh. Very cool.
Yeah.
Beyond you said?
Mm-hmm. I will send you the text in Discord.
Cool. So I think, yeah, Kyrrie looks at Ephanalisan. Fascinating. That you can just work with the spell to grow it in such a way to not just replicate it, but create more room inside of it.
Exactly. A feline, a whole family, thus can be protected by one of its members. You see now why the role of defender is so critical. I hope that you are able to be a defender of your people as well. And
I shall try.
And he teaches, it was actually not beyond you, it's beyond me. So, you thus furnished with this spell, the plan together, I think it's time for Twigg to try to marshal this spell to their will. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to put on something a little bit more suspenseful. All right. So, you are holding the envelope. And as you kind of like work through the magic, I need you to make me I'm going to say this is because of blood magic. This can be either intellect or it can be physicality. And you are going to kind of figure out the process by which you can do this. I'm also going to let this essentially be kind of like a skill challenge. Anybody who is assisting you with this may complete an action to see how best to augment this challenge.
Let's see here. I have let's see. I have elevate spells. I have the secret of elevate spells. What color would you say this this spell I'm doing is?
It's change, so it's going to be gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Metamorphosis. You are trying to change this thing into something that and change its parameters to be something it is not.
Did we say that we fully rested, so we should be back up to full with our bene?
I will say that this has taken the better part of the day. If you want to take a 4-hour rest action, I will say you can do that.
Okay. Otherwise, I can't do anything for you.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I won't because I'm doing this shit. Okay. I would like to take my other. What are the rests again? Remind me, Zach. It's
action, 10 minutes, 1 hour.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So you guys will have. I will tell you this. Actually, in that time, however many rests that you have that you can use to replenish a pool, you may do.
I'm going to use I'm going to replenish my sortilege.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be rolling with, so I am starting at, so I would like to use intellect for this actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend a sortilege to give you a +1.
Okay.
Is that a +1 dice or a +1 bonus?
A +1 to the bonus because you're already adding a dice.
Okay. So we got +2 to your venture. Does anybody else want to help or assist in some way?
So because we're saying this is going to be gold, I will say that I'll shift into my Erebast form, and I'll just use raw magic because once I'm in this form under the Eye of Amanus, which is what we ostensibly use for that, which I'll pay the sorcery cost for, it is gold.
Okay, cool.
Nice. And I'm kind of picturing Twigg like pulling bits of the raw magic that you're like kind of producing into this spell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm rocking with +2 venture, is that correct?
Yes. So you have 3 to start. Kyrrie, what are you doing?
I think what Kyrrie would like to do is assist. I'm not quite sure what the mechanical way to do this would be, but I mean to like use her expertise in spellcraft to kind of almost be like the supervising doctor in an operating room, right? Like being able to watch what's happening and like follow the current of magic and know if it's going wrong so that she can intervene and try to like make sure that the magic is flowing as it should without aberration.
Okay.
One thing that you might notice is that Twigg does not use the same current of magic as you, actually.
Yeah.
Which is notable.
I will tell you this, though. As you kind of like study that current, it seems almost like through this kind of like intuitive comprehension, you are kind of like picking it up as you go very naturally. So what I'd like you to do is roll me intellect.
Okay.
And what we will do is this is going to be like basically a fail safe in case things go wrong. We will adjudicate. It might basically give Twigg an extra attempt, or it might give them a way to kind of short circuit failure. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Exactly the intention.
So I'm rolling intellect, or what am I actually rolling?
You
I think I'm rolling. Wait, am I rolling anything?
Oh yeah, you're gonna roll first, and then
Yeah.
So you are rolling. I'm gonna say this is intellect for you, Kyrrie. And for Twigg, you are rolling essentially either physicality or intellect. You are basically working through your sorcery. You're kind of like raw, like physicality or magic to kind of shape things. You can yoke it with your mind, or you can yoke it with your kind of blood.
I think narratively it makes more sense to use physicality. I'd love to use my pool of intellect that I never use, but narratively I think it's blood.
Cool. And so you're elevating the spell, you're casting, so you're getting 2 assistants already. So you start with 3, plus I guess whatever bene you've added there. So
I've added sortilege actually.
okay, cool. So start with 3, and then tell me what you get.
Start with 3 venture.
Start with 3 venture,
or rather 3 forward to my venture.
Yeah,
And
then
what number do I have to hit?
I'm gonna say this is a 10.
Okay. So I'm rolling 3 dice, 2 of which are magic. I have a +3 to all of that.
Mm-hmm. And first off,
Can I spend a hidden lore to bump that up one more?
you may certainly. So
Okay, so I have +4. So I need to hit a 6.
you have to have you have to hit a 6 on 1 die. Kyrrie, give me your intellect roll.
All right, I will pump a bene into this. So that is 9 total.
Okay. All right. So we have the 9. We'll figure out what that looks like if something goes wrong. Okay. Roll 3 dice.
That's 2 8s on the sortilege dice and a 3 on the regulars.
Okay. So I think the thing is, like, you grasp this thing like physically, and then I think it catches you. I think you feel this thing's form shift and angrily lash out at you as you undo the bindings physically on this thing that the dark had done. However, what does it look like as you surge the magic and intent into this, and how do you reshape the spell? Kyrrie, this is actually a very interesting learning experience for you as you are watching an apostate work raw magic and form it into a spell and into spellcraft, which is completely opposite of anything you've seen a Vance or even a maker or a weaver do. There seem to be like more rules and more structure and more method in those instances, but here it just feels like raw chaos being melded. So tell me what this looks like for Kyrrie. Twigg.
So Twigg, I think, is sitting cross-legged with the envelope between them and Gav. And I think what you're seeing is like Gav's like raw apostate magic, like this golden magic, just kind of Twigg is grabbing some of that and feeding their own magic into this circuitous loop, and then kind of forming this almost like this I think maybe a like a Mobius strip, like just a ribbon of raw magic that seems to be glittering green, gold, and that's my last one. Green, gold, and silver.
I will also say, though, that a facet of the Eye of a Mana spell, not the color, but the facet, is the dark.
Yeah.
Which I know
nice.
was already something that was a part of the construction of whatever this original envelope ended up becoming.
I think we see that darkness running along the edge of this Mobius strip. And then Twigg kind of reaches down and I think begins to disassemble using some of the energy, like little tendrils, little splinters that offshoot from this Mobius strip, begins to disassemble the envelope, and he watches it explodes outwards with its little angry little little tendrils, its little pseudopods, and each of those is met with a splinter of energy that just pierces through the tip of these pseudopods, and you watch as the magic begins to creep through and mutate and change the paper. You watch the paper shift and shimmer from like different pulp types, different coloration, like even the font on the letters that are visible changes as something very fundamentally shifts in the nature of this thing, as the spell itself, the creature, I think the underlying demon itself is being mutated into something entirely different.
Absolutely. I will say this, you do this, and I think for one, it expands in size. First off, it becomes like almost like a delivery packet rather than this kind of like single envelope. My question is,
are you fundamentally changing what this creature is? So, like, it is a demon normally. It is a demon of the red. It is a red crimson envelope. Are you changing its color and what it is?
I think you see more and more of that dark edge that goes from just a razor edge of Gav's magic, and you realize that there's it's not just Gav's magic, that also Twigg's magic is also heavily infused with the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you watch as the demon struggle as it realizes that it in its current form is dying, and what is going to be will not be what it was.
All right.
Which I think is an upsetting concept for a creature with that level of cognizance.
So I will tell you one thing. So as somebody who paints occasionally, when you mix green and red, it becomes yellow. And so the thing that is interesting is you see this thing, and as it changes and expands and its color shifts to this kind of like gold cadmium, this kind of like cadmium yellow, which is not too far off necessarily from like a giant manila envelope or like a banking envelope of some sort. You hear it shriek, just as its form is twisted and shredded and remade and changed and then re-rendered according to your purpose. And you hear the chambers of Fortinbras click nervously as you just rewrote something entirely that is ostensibly an object. And you now have something wholly new, a completely new creature that is yoked to your will to do the thing that you are asking it to do, which is to devour this house and then find its way back to the address. My question is, this process passes. How are you guys feeling about this? And not only that, how are you making your final preparations to go to the manor?
I still think Gav's gonna want to burn the rest of the envelopes because we can move them without them with them still being inert. But the second an Elderbrin seems to get near them, they could be killed. And Gav would insist on clearing out the rest of them before we leave. And because my form doesn't change unless we're in rounds or until the next sun sets, I will just remain in my full-blown Arabast form.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Anybody doing anything else?
I think
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No. Okay. I think
No,
Maurice was taking this time since it was several hours. Kyrrie busy with Ephanalisan, trying to get kind of a one-on-one with each of the members of his crew. I think he'll start with Gav, I guess, who has maybe finishing the pyre building before Twigg and Kyrrie are done with their things, and says, seems like I certainly missed a lot.
The Gold Sun is certainly an interesting place, but you're back for, I'd argue, one of the more important things we're here to do.
And we're no less in a hurry than before. I just feel like I don't have time to even understand, let alone be with any of you in any real sense. Does that make any sense?
Yes. It's more or less how I've felt this entire time. There's no time. There is the end of everything, which it's still hard to get my head around, but I can understand it if I Just think about the lives that are at stake.
It's a hell of a deadline, huh?
I'm used to it. Don't read into that.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of dreams, when I first met Kyrrie, I was pretty lost too. And she helped me learn a spell, a dream study, where it's kind of like a shared dorm room where we could meet up, and she helped me get acquainted with the actuality. With all of this, just zero opportunities to really take a moment. Maybe we could find some time in dreams to carve that out.
I would like that, I think.
And I'll just figure out how to teach you that.
Magic seems to just happen for me. Maybe if we have a moment, I think all you have to do is just tell me how it works.
Just wish really hard, huh?
It's more like when I think about something, somehow that magic happens. It's not the same thing for Vance or Weavers or Goetics. I don't study it, I can see it. I can see the magic. It just is.
I'm experiencing a lot of that too. Things are just happening. And I think Maurice will tell you the details of his experience on the night side of the Silver Sun. And before Gav gets a chance to kind of ask any follow-up questions about it, he says, "Hey, what's that going on with your rifle?" And waits for you to turn your head.
Do you think that I was born yesterday?
Damn
it!
Okay. What are our two remaining vislae doing?
I think Kyrrie was watching Twigg's process first with a kind of neutral clinical interest in the proceedings, but progressively becoming more entranced and maybe almost a little trepidatious about the raw magics at work, kind of unbound by order or precision or structure. I think she picks up like a hint of the dark that's involved. But the word that comes to Kyrrie's mind as she watches the process of these magics folding and unfolding, the making and unmaking of this creature, that steady pulsing heartbeat that she felt when the seed came into her chest returns, like at a very fundamental, deep level, almost as if it's like vibing with what's happening in front of her. Like she intellectually is, I think, put very aback by like the metamorphosis of this creature. And she's seen Twigg create things before, obviously, but often it's things that already exist in some way, and giving them a voice or a personality or changing them in some way, not fundamentally unmaking them to remake them into something new. And I think Kyrrie is at once taken aback intellectually, but there is something, I think, that pulls her to this process and that her curiosity gets caught up in.
Excellent. And Twigg, what are you doing?
I think the village is pretty close to the ocean, right? Or the sea.
Yes, it is close to the Sea of Dolor.
Yeah, I think Twigg has spent this little bit of downtime after casting that spell and has gone out to I'm picturing a very golden sea. Can you paint me a word picture, Zach?
Absolutely. I think that what ends up happening here is the light of the sun is gold, yes, but the water itself is clear, but you realize that like everything that is below its surface is gold and surface is gold itself. So really what you are getting is the reflection back. At least you would be getting that reflection back to you of this kind of like almost like goldish quality to the water if it weren't for the fact that the sea itself is so tumultuous, always shifting, ever changing. Off in the distance, as you kind of like look out at the sea, there are these tempests and firing of thunderstorms and lightning into the water, just striking it, and you can hear very softly the distant boom of these storms. But it's relatively peaceful here on the shore, but it's almost the suggestion that something is on the horizon.
Yeah, I think Twigg finds a comfortable place to sit down and just looks out at this grandeur of this space, and also the shifting nature of all of these things, the constant ebb and flow, and just enjoys sitting in the sun for a little bit next to the sea.
I think you're there for perhaps maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then you feel like in between the side of your ribs and your elbow, a snout of Duncan forcing itself in there, and sits next to you.
I think Twigg gives Duncan a little scritch. Gives some head scritches.
Excellent. I am going to turn one final card because this is the one that ends up on the testament. I'm curious about something. Lucky coin. Its color is silver. It weakens gold. Meanings: good fortune, wealth, freedom, unexpected luck. We put a lot of value in objects. We place a lot of importance in their presence in our lives. Some people might have a favorite shirt, a trusty handkerchief, or, of course, a lucky coin. Armed with a talisman such as this, no harm can befall us. But we only barely understand the truth of such things. The luck they bring, if they work, never comes in an expected form. Something good is coming. It's likely nothing one planned on or was expecting, and it can come in many forms: success, money, or the elimination of a problem. The lucky coin is a positive card turn, and suggests that the person in question has perhaps less structure weighing upon them than they thought. Fewer strings for the marionette, so to speak. They are more free than they believed, free to act and do as they please. An NPC comes into a great deal of wealth. A group of wild, unfettered individuals is involved in the matters at hand. If you find a good luck charm, hang on to it. They're rarer than you'd think.
I have a question, and this is a bad string question because it's about an image that no one can see.
Yeah.
But unlike any other card that I'm seeing in the book, this one has a clock on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this question's for Monty Cook. What are you doing? What is this?
Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. So, my thing about this is it's got a clock on it. You have this very kind of well-suited gentle person taking a look at the at this kind of like pulled out pocket watch while a silver coin flips in the air. I will tell you this. I think that as you are considering these things, Kyrrie, I think you reflexively feel the weight of the grimoire on your side in the belt. It just feels heavier than it's ever been. What runs through your mind as you feel this?
I think the first is a flash of guilt. I think she has a seed of inner truth now. I think she's been forced to look at the fact that maybe she's been avoiding Zaleska's grimoire because the last encounter she had with it was when she almost threw it in the fire. And that they really haven't spoken since then, insofar as you can speak with a book. And that Kyrrie has maybe been conveniently deluding herself into thinking that by just carrying it and protecting it, that's all that it needs. She's fulfilling her function. She can avoid the rest. But I think that heaviness reflects, that physical heaviness reflects the fact that the seed's words have been weighing on her mind. And I think she reaches a hand down to the cover of Zaleska's grimoire. And for the first time in a long time, I think she touches it.
Is everything all right? It has been some time since we last spoke.
I didn't cast a spell. You can... I mean, you talk of your own accord?
There is something... Actually, make me an intellect roll.
Absolutely. That's a 6.
Okay. You get the sense that maybe the fact that you have pulled this seed into your being, you wonder if what you're hearing is really the book, so much as it might be what you want the book to say. In which case, let me ask you, what is it that you wish the book would say, if anything? So we can retcon this.
Yeah, no, I think what Kyrrie wishes Zaleska's grimoire would say is, I forgive you. But I think her awareness of the fact that the inner seed may be channeling a voice into the book makes her doubt if the forgiveness that will be voiced by the grimoire is authentic, or if it's a projection. Just another type of illusion.
All you need to do to find out is ask.
Is it really you?
I'm going to turn another card. Elusive sleep. Its color is blue. It weakens red. Meanings: futility, worry, stress, and awareness. The richest noble cannot buy sleep. The strongest among us cannot compel its submission. Even the wisest person might lose a night's rest to anxiety. Still, when we're awake, we are aware, and that awareness can be crucial. Elusive sleep indicates one is racked with worry, or should be. It might indicate that the stress that one feels is a real detriment, and that whatever is being attempted is utterly futile. Last, this card turn might suggest that the key to success lies in vigilance. Someone is racked with worry. An NPC notices something important. An NPC's actions are futile. No one can sleep. Sleep can be difficult prey for even the most skilled hunter when it wishes to be. The illustration of this card shows a sleeper, a woman, drifting, floating atop a relatively peaceful sea, a crescent moon hanging above her, the shadow of a swan, or several swans, floating behind her. I am but an instrument. It is not my place to forgive. I am here to serve as a means by which I may edify or assist the Vance, to assist those who are in whose care I have been placed. Should I be burned, do you think that the spells inside me, the knowledge that I have, would just fly away and be gone? Do you think the spells that are loosed from your mind cease to exist just because you no longer know them?
No, I suppose not. All the same, I threatened you. I'm supposed to protect you. And I was angry, and I've been carrying that as I've been carrying you. And perhaps it's that I haven't forgiven myself.
Let me put you at ease, at least in one regard. No mere candle flame could destroy my form nor my function. Even if the offense was intent, it would have failed.
Yes, but you see, it's not whether it would have been possible, it's the fact that I tried.
Would you have me choose someone else to be my caretaker?
Is that what you want?
You are the chosen. You are the caretaker.
Yes, but I want you to choose me. Actively. I know when we first spoke, I asked you for your consent for me to accompany you, to carry you on this journey, and you gave it. And I suppose my distance may have been because I violated that trust. And I suppose that is why I speak of forgiveness. And why I ask again whether you choose me.
My consent has not been rescinded, and my forgiveness is irrelevant.
It is relevant to me. If your forgiveness is not something you feel willing to give, then let me know what I can do to earn it. For I would like to try.
There is a moment where the grimoire ponders this, and finally says, I will not be able to forgive the waste of my knowledge in the pursuit of something that could help the Order of the Vance, or to save those who could potentially be harmed by less scrupulous vislae. If you will not use me to assist and to bring light where there is none, that will be what I cannot forgive. If you have no intention of making use of the teachings that Zaleska has provided, name another caretaker, and I shall return to them.
Kyrrie thinks about this. I have full intention, and you have my promise. But I want to make sure I'm worthy to continue to be your bearer, and if I can almost do what I almost did, I suppose that I have worried that I am not. I want to earn the knowledge that is inside you.
Then prove yourself, seed bearer.
How?
And the book falls silent.
Kyrrie is trembling, I think, and very gently removes her hand from the cover of the book.
Okay. We rejoin the rest of you as you finalize these preparations. Twig, what does it look like when you use this repurposed demon?
I think it's upsettingly like a pelican. I think we watch as this envelope bulges outward in a way that like doesn't feel, it feels like it should tear, but somehow it doesn't. It stretches, kind of challenging the notion that it's created of paper. It's something else entirely. Are we getting in the house first? So I think everybody else is in the house at this point, like standing in the doorway. Where is the door on the cat house, by the way?
It's on
in its tummy.
It is on the. Oh God. No, I'd say it's on the facade.
Tummy to let it go in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know what? No. You're right. It would be on at kind of the side there because I think you've got facades on either side. Like this. Let's make it the tummy. Let's go full Ghibli. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just picturing the house curls up and the front door is roughly in the middle of the croissant. Yeah, so I think everybody else is over standing in the door. I'm picturing, and then Twig's going to be the last one in. And I think walks over and just does a tiny little bit of magic, just the equivalent of flicking a switch. And you watch as this envelope, this kind of poisonous yellow envelope just balloons outwards, kind of folding and unfolding in a way that is not very Euclidean, swelling and then just kind of slurping the entire cat house as Twig steps through the door and closes the door.
I'm going to describe this as you guys are all kind of like enshrouded in darkness inside this cat house, this longhouse made cat / whatever. You all feel a sense of almost weightlessness as you feel the envelope kind of float into the air around you. And then zoom, and all of you are kind of like thrown back against one of the walls opposite of the direction. And actually, this is going to be pretty hardcore for a while. So I need everybody to roll physicality to make sure that you can keep your footing and not incur any injuries in this circumstance.
Venture on that?
Whatever you're bringing to bear.
Okay.
What question, Zach? So I had previously sustained a wound. Did I have time to heal that during our?
I will say that you would have had to use a rest to heal a wound though. Can you use one of your actions?
I used it to. I want to save that action.
Okay, cool.
I would like to. No, I think Maurice naturally would have healed that up. He's healed before.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll spend the sorcery for that.
Yeah, mark the sorcery off on your weave. Okay, so everybody needs to roll me a physicality. You can use your Bene, you can use hidden knowledge, you can use whatever secrets you have available, because you are rolling to not be thrown around this house. Okay. I'm gonna say this is like a 6 for you guys to just.
Which is what I got exactly.
I got
actually same.
a 9.
Oh, excellent. That leaves Twig.
That is. Sorry, I'm looking at my Bene to make sure I can do it. Yeah, I'm gonna put in. No, I'm just gonna put in physicality. So that's a 4.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, you take 2 injuries bouncing around this house, getting slammed into walls and into kind of hard surfaces before you guys all feel this. And this goes on for some time.
Yeah, it's just subway surfing right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. You're just like doing the Teen
I don't
Wolf
understand
thing.
why is everyone having a hard time with this? She's just standing in the middle of the.
Remind me, I can do what with to mitigate that?
You can spend 1 physicality to mitigate it, up to 3 injuries.
Okay. And Maurice healed the wound, is that correct?
I healed your wound, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I will spend the additional 2 physicality. I'm rolling into
only the one.
Just the 1. I'll only spend the 1. It's
1 physicality is good for 3 injuries.
Yep.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm rocking into this with exactly 7 points of spellcasting ability. So, but I'm not injured.
Healing you took me to 0, so we're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great times. I feel like Kyrrie has engineered like some sort of, she's like taped herself into a corner with like, you know, like basically like tried to do everything she could to prepare herself. And yet because she has a 6, like she almost like rips through the tape and it just barely holds on.
All right. Excellent. All of you are holding on for dear life, with the exception of Gavriel, who is just kind of like going with the flow here.
I'm in full blown Erebast form too, so I'm just a giant bird velociraptor.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, I think there's just like a flapping as you kind of like, whenever like something moves a different way, you kind of just jump and like flap for a little bit or something like that.
I've got that emu energy.
Exactly. So my thing about this is, Twig, this is really important. What did you code any instructions in particular into this creature for arrival?
I think it's supposed to disgorge us.
Yeah.
Upon receipt.
Okay. All right. I am going to turn another card, as I need to see what this looks like, what happens.
Throw up a house-sized cat full of a bunch of idiots like a hairball.
Yeah. The hunter, the adept of notions, cats, clocks, and wind, nature, death, conflict, survival, seeking a goal. The hunter is a lonely soul, pursuing prey with dogged tenacity. Their single-minded dedication is why they are successful in tracking, confronting, and killing their prey. The hunter knows better than anyone that it is kill or be killed in the harsh world we live in. In the city, we pretend civilization has lifted us above such things. But the hunter travels into the wilderness where no such delusions exist. But that's not to say that there aren't hunters in cities. On the contrary, there are hunters who prey upon people. Sometimes these hunters seek murder, but some hunt with other goals, just as dark. The hunter is the adept of notions. Her skills in the wilds and her knowledge of her prey and the best way to bring it down make her the match for any vislae. This is the perfect card for one pursuing a goal. The hunter suggests that vigilance and persistence will win the day. However, if one isn't actively seeking something, this card turn can portend conflict and even death. A hunter in the ticking forest very likely seeks Eric's hounds, or they seek her. Okay, so this, I think, is what happens, is you sense the arrival of this letter. You sense it slow and decelerate. Now, I will tell you this, just inside baseball. If you guys had gotten a bad card, you would have slammed full force into the manor. And so with the hunter card, you feel the envelope decelerate, and you all feel it come to a very gradual rolling stop. And you realize that you are at your destination. And the paper walls that have enshrouded you and prevented light from piercing through the surfaces, the complete darkness is lifted. And you find all of yourselves outside as you step from the longhouse, which itself moves one of its stairwell-like paws, half of it, onto the itself it's very weird to see stairwells ending where another stairwell begins. And it arches up, and you realize that you are looking at the front stone stairs of a massive mansion that itself, there are these kind of patterned windows, these kind of Art Deco, actually these curvilinear Nouveau style kind of themes that are worked into these latticed like steel works and copper and all kinds of manners of metalworking into the house facade itself that all appear to be shifting and moving in sequence to a beat or a rhythm that none of you can hear. And as the first of you step onto the steps leading up into this manor, one of the doors yawns open. And that is where we're going to end our session tonight. So, character recaps. Gavriel, joy, despair, character arcs.
I am racking up the joy, and by proxy, I'm not getting any crux. For those playing along at home, I have 18 despair and 28 joy. There's a huge mismatch here.
Excellent. I love it, love it, love it. We'll keep that in mind. So take 1 joy, and then take 1 acumen for pinning down a hostile envelope.
Love it.
All right. Maurice, joy, despair, character arcs.
Easy peasy, no character arcs, but reunited with his found family. That's a joy. Yeah, nothing more to it.
Excellent. And 1 acumen for entertaining the children with the tales of when Bob Dylan went electric. Twigg, character arcs, joy, despair.
Actually, I think I probably did something on a character arc before, and we just didn't do anything with it because my OG character arc, aka Who Am I?
I literally thought you were about to say it's been 1 week. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
It's been slightly longer than 1 week since you... No. I think I did do some progress on that. I'm not sure if I finished that. That's up to you.
Mm-hmm. Remind me what the character arc was. Was that just
it
who
literally
you are?
just says who am I in all caps.
I think we resolved that character arc. I think you needed to pick a new one. Yeah.
Oh shit! Did I not pick a new one? Do I suck?
Well, you actually
You don't
probably
have to.
Yeah, you don't
You can just
have
spend.
to.
I have 2 others.
Yeah. Do those other 2 arcs have anything going on?
No. Find my hearts and build a new home. Currently not relevant. All right, so I'm good on that front. And joy.
Okay.
This all worked out swimmingly.
Yeah, take 1 joy and then take 1 acumen for repurposing this demon, this insatiate, into a creature that you could use as a means of transportation. Finally, Kyrrie, joy, despair, character arcs.
Yeah. Kyrrie got a seed of truth. The seed of truth is trying to trick her into therapy. It seems to kind of be working, believe it or not. I think because of her conversation with the Zalessa's grimoire, I think Kyrrie takes a despair, but it's one of those despairs that actually kind of secretly feels like a joy, because I think the emotion itself is despair, but it's like she's made a breakthrough in understanding something about why she's been avoiding Zaleska's grimoire, and also like what she can do about it, and whether or not it's actually Zaleska's grimoire talking to her or not. Like, she's had that realization. So yeah, I think Kyrrie takes a despair. But I think character arc wise, so my original character arc is like discover something new, like make a new discovery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Zach, does Invisible Sun let you have multiple character arcs at
tons.
the same time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I would like to start, I think this feels right, like to start a new character arc now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to call it Know Thyself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this might be slightly longer term, but I think Kyrrie getting this particular seed of truth, I think has really sort of kicked off a like what does introspection look like and what will I find at the end of this journey for her? So I think I would like to open such a character arc.
Excellent. Love that. So spend 1 acumen to start it. You can spend the one that you earned from basically engaging the grimoire and having your breakthrough. And yeah, take 1 to spare.
Perfect.
Cool. So back at the top of the round, shout outs and plugs. Marcy, you want to go first?
Hello, I have been Marcy, and I am frantically checking to see exactly the times, because when this airs, I have to make my shout outs be accurate to what's actually happening. So once again, Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, you know the drill by now. I'm the resident cryptid on Twitter. Don't look for me there. I don't exist there, not really. And for shout outs very quickly for right here on Manipos Studios, if you're not entirely sick of myself or Hopper, well, we'll be back here on Monday doing another episode of Streets of Gotham. And we're getting to like the big season finale. So catch up on all the episodes on YouTube and come tune in, because things are about to get nuts. And in a similar note, if you're still, after all of that, you can't get enough of us and Zach, well, that's fine, because on Tuesday, all 3 of us and... No, I'm getting my times mixed up again.
No,
thank you.
It's correct.
This is fun. I'm speaking to you from the past. However, we will be doing the season finale. Oh, thank you, everyone nodding. For our Frights of Fandom, our Gravedale High stream, and it's going to be great. We're having a lot of fun with that, so please join us. And I'm keeping it short and sweet, and that's all I got.
Excellent. Bill, shout outs, plugs.
If you're watching this on Twitch, go to the Legend Trees channel, and which is Hopper's home for all things Hopper. 2 things on there. 1, every now and then we play some Gloomhaven. It's goofy. We rarely win. It's a lot of fun. Second of all, a home game that graduated to a stream game is called Dark Visions. Not all monsters are from the manual. We're playing in Hopper's West Marches campaign. High lethality. Every episode could be the last. The Hopper is trying to kill us, and we're playing awful people, one of which is a cannibal. Like, seriously, warnings.
Excellent. Hopper, shout outs, plugs, or do we need to move on?
Shouting out Jeff Stormer and Party One Podcast and all my fantasy children, award-winning author, podcast host, and the official, unofficial creator of the Olive Garden RPG, or LARP. Sorry, LARP. And he's dope. Check out everything he touches. It's literally gold. And speaking of, that might be one of the other people in our Gravedale High. Other than that, like what Bill said, and be gay, do crime.
Be gay, do crime. Marissa, shout outs, plugs.
Yeah, because it is still the month of October, both when we are recording and when you will be seeing this, I would shout out our lovely friend Chloe's Penned to Good Society Jam, which is going on for the month of October only. You can check it out on itch.io/jam/Pen to Good Society Jam with dashes between each of those words. And it's basically, you should hack good society to be ridiculous and cool and be in whatever era you want and write letters to each other in space. Why not? This is your opportunity. You can submit works in progress. So if you have an idea, get it on paper. This is your excuse. This is me telling you to do that and submit it, because it's going to be great.
Excellent. And for my own part, just going to shout out to Ancient Citadel Josh, to Ancient Citadel and their stream, also to Encounter Party, who are also friends of the stream, who are doing some really cool stuff, hopefully sooner rather than later. We shall wait with bated breath for more. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for joining us and for checking us out on this pre-recorded stream. We got a lot more stuff planned for you, so look forward to that. Some interesting changes, some new developments, some new scenes, all kinds of stuff. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of the ones that you love, and remember always, may the invisible sun shine on you. Good night.